Hello, YouTube. Hello. Welcome to, good morning. Hi, YouTube. I am nervous to be here. Hello. Welcome to my studio, my bright and sunny studio. Hi, YouTube. Hi. I am nervous. I'm Jessica. I am an artist and a psychotherapist, and I have previously been on Instagram. I am nervous about this change coming to YouTube from Instagram. It's a big shift. I don't really know how to do it, so if you're watching me and you're from Instagram, hi, you're familiar with my awkward self. But if you're not from Instagram and you're new here, hello, I'm Jessica. I am an artist and a psychotherapist, and I have spent the last 5 years building the last, 2017 to 2024. So the last 7 years building a beautiful community on Instagram, and I have decided to shift from Instagram to YouTube as I also go back into full-time private practice. In 2021, I decided to step back from a private practice full-time and move into full-time art because the pandemic completely burned me out in terms of being able to both hold space for clients and also hold space for my own mental health stuff that was being triggered by everything going on during that time. I went through a loss. We went through a lot of different shifts in the last several years. The apps have changed and the way they show your work has changed. For me, it's become more stressful to create on Instagram than it is to see private practice clients full time. I'm here on YouTube and I've created a bit of a safe space in this little YouTube world for me to just explore and experiment with what works. So I don't know what this channel is going to look like. I really want it to be an even balance of mental health, art, creativity, and nature. And then also being presented to you by somebody who is messy, neurodivergent. I am not your typical influencer, and I don't want to be. I just want to be a 35-year-old person who is just now for the first time in their life feeling fully confident in mostly confident in who they are and in expressing myself in that way. I still get anxious and I still get nervous. I'm anxious and I'm nervous right now, but I really want to use YouTube as a space where I can just express myself. I am going to share my journey of trying to go from a full-time Instagram artist creator to a part-time YouTuber. I am lucky enough to have a career as a psychotherapist, and I have my license in the state of Massachusetts, so I have a private practice that I operate out of my home. And since 2020, I have been seeing only a few clients because 2021, I went down to a very small caseload of clients so that I could better manage my own mental health during all of the chaos of 2020 and 2021. Art was sustainable at that time. People were buying art. The apps were still working in our favor. And with the recent changes in the way Instagram works, it just is not feasible to get my work seen or to even feel like my cup is being filled at all by posting on that app. So I'm here as your messy, neurodivergent therapist, artist. If you want content that is not perfect, if you want YouTube content that is filmed from an iPhone, sometimes I'll use my other camera and I'll talk about that as we go. If you want to learn about what it's like to transition from Instagram to YouTube and what the thoughts and the fears are of someone who was once a viral Instagram creator to now a non-viral Instagram creator to now someone who's trying to build an audience and a community on YouTube. One of the biggest differences I think I feel in connecting with YouTube content versus Instagram content is that it feels like I'm actually in someone's safe space. I feel like when I'm watching someone's YouTube video and I've subscribed to their YouTube channel, it is like me signing up for their seminar. It's like their lifelong seminar that they're going to be offering, and I don't even have to pay for it most of the time, right? Where Instagram feels like a shopping feed, an ad space, it feels like I'm trying to push things on people, and I really hate being a salesperson. I did not go to school for business. I did not ever see myself trying to sell things to anyone. And it makes me really, really uncomfortable trying to sell things to people. And that is all you can really do on Instagram now, is just basically peddle to your community people to buy your work when they've already collected from you a million times, because they're the only people that are seeing your work. I get vulnerable on Instagram. I share a lot of vulnerable stuff, and the more vulnerable you get on Instagram, the more shadow banned you get. My attempts to weave trauma and art and nature and lifestyle has just not gone well in the Instagram world. And I don't know if that's because it's the content that I'm creating, or if it's because of the platform, and maybe it's the content I'm creating. Maybe I'm just always a little late to the game in terms of what I'm creating, because it feels like the content that I was creating on Instagram in 2017, 18, 19 was like it. But it was all tutorials, and so I was getting all artists that were following me, and it was all brand new. And so everyone had just seen my work for the first time. And now 5 years in, it's still those same artists, because of the way Instagram works, that are following my work, and I'm having a hard time figuring out how to break through to art collectors. So I feel like if I can cut the social and personal aspect in half on Instagram, not worry so much about the social connection and sharing personal stuff on Instagram, and move that to YouTube and being able to talk about more of this journey, talk about more of my trauma, talk about more of my work as a trauma therapist, and talk about more of the annoyances of being an artist. Maybe YouTube will carve out a space for me. Maybe there are other artists and creators out there who are burnt out from the other apps and want to connect and figure out, how do we create a community together that can support our mental health and also support our well-being. YouTube is where we are. I have no idea what I'm doing. So if you have no idea what you're doing and you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, this is the video and the series for you. I don't even know what I'm titling this yet. I know that titles are a big thing. I have to learn about that. So every video I see is always of people after they've already figured it out. And even if they're not big yet, they figured it out. I have not figured it out yet. I am still very much learning. I just learned about thumbnails and how to optimize my thumbnails. I'm just starting to understand how to optimize my titles. So maybe this will be a video in 5 years that I'll reshare with another video that says I'm monetized and, I make a feasible income off of YouTube. I don't know, but I was voted in high school most addicted to MySpace. I graduated in 2007. And I was voted most addicted to MySpace. I don't actually even have a photo of it because I was traveling. That's for a story for another day. And so when you missed the yearbook photo, you didn't actually get the photo nomination. So anyways, long story short, most addicted to MySpace. I've been on the apps forever, before MySpace existed. I like it. I like being on the apps, but I feel like I'm so ADHD and I'm so neurodivergent that I have not been able to niche it in. I have not been able to hone it in. And I look around and I'm like, I feel like I'm close though. Art, mental health, nature, I feel like I'm close. And YouTube, I feel like a lot of people are flocking to YouTube right now, but I feel like every year, people say that, everyone's flocking to YouTube. This year, I feel like maybe more than ever, because Instagram is really, really, really dying, and TikTok is supposedly going to be done soon. So I might be too late. I don't know. I might be too late. Top things I hated about being an Instagram creator: having to sell and pitch yourself constantly. It used to be that you could just share a photo in your feed and you would just get pushed out to whoever wanted to see that type of content, and that was it. And now we have these mysterious bans and shadow bans and blocks and algorithm changes that make it so that unless certain things happen in terms of how you post it, I can't even put technically that things are new on my website, because they are going to flag that as a sales post, and then they're going to put it in some type of folder that says that should now be a post that they collect money on, and so don't push it unless they pay for an ad. And it's just too much. And we have influencers out there being paid by these apps to say this is how it works and this is how it works, and the psychology of it is like us trying to figure out how to be inside a big slot machine and how to figure out the mechanics of that slot machine so it works in our favor. I just don't have enough time to try to figure out how to keep manipulating the system. Another thing that I really didn't like about Instagram is the constant deception by the platform creators on what was changing, what wasn't changing, what was happening with paid subscriptions, what was happening with verification. I was one of the few creators in my circle who said, no, I'm not paying for a verification badge, and I'm not going to give them that satisfaction. And I don't know if not having the verification badge has hurt my system on Instagram, and if it's prevented me from having my work seen even more, probably. But I decided that I wasn't going to pay for that, and I wasn't going to pay into the platform. Instagram has become so much more like an e-commerce app. It is feeling like a more social Etsy. And so I did not want to be on Etsy for a reason, and so now it's causing for the same reason I don't want to be on Instagram. So what are my solutions for having a platform on Instagram and then moving to having no platform on YouTube? I am not going to give up Instagram completely. I am going to be utilizing more apps that do the auto posting for me. I'm going to be using Instagram more as a portfolio and less as a place to sell my work. The benefits that I see in moving to YouTube is having more of a space that feels like it's curated by me and feels like I'm free to post more of what I want to post. I also want to post more long form content. I want to talk about more things, and I want to be able to offer more than just painting on a canvas. And so, yes, we're going to paint on a canvas, but I want to be able to combine all of the things that I really love. And I got so burnt out. I was checking the app so constantly and looking for that dopamine hit, and trying to distract myself from other things going on in my life. That's what the Instagram became for me. It became almost an addiction, and maybe at some point I'll identify it as an addiction, where I have a really hard time feeling like I'm alone if I'm not on the apps, especially as a self-employed person who works from home. It's an easy way to connect with people in some way, but it's also an easy way to dissociate from your regular life. If you find yourself constantly on Instagram, if you find yourself constantly on those apps, maybe trying moving over to more long form content like YouTube, where you can do something at the same time, where you're talking to somebody or with somebody, listening to somebody. So my hope is that I'm going to contribute less to that dopamine hit content that happens on Instagram, and less of that, ooh, look at this person's beautiful space, but knowing no context of what their life is like. YouTube allows me to have context and provide context for my life and my world and what I want to share with people. I live a lonely life and I want to connect with more people online. I've always wanted that. And so I'm hoping that YouTube is kind of like the end all for the social media stuff. And I don't know how much I'm going to put into it. Right now I'm hoping to post one video a week, and I'm working on I have my little planner somewhere. I'm trying to do a schedule and a routine. So part of this channel is going to be just watching me trying at 35 years old to develop a healthy routine for the first time. Because social media is really, my addiction to social media has distracted me from being able to come up with a healthy routine, because I'm constantly trying to keep up with the way the apps are changing, so that I can keep selling my work, or so that I can stay relevant in terms of my art. So join me. This video actually was going to be a video of me painting. So I'm gonna upload this. I don't know if anyone is gonna watch this. I wanna hear from people who are struggling with leaving Instagram, of feeling like they're still tied to that community, and of still feeling like they don't know what else to do because that was their income. What are you doing? How are you getting by? How are you selling anywhere else? I mean, a lot of people tell me, go do gallery shows, go do in-person shows. And my life is already so busy in other ways. I don't feel like I have time for that. So I'm hoping that I can have more time for that. And honestly, I have a lot of anxiety about in-person shows. My area is very limited in what there is and what's offered for in-person shows. I could go to Boston area, but that's a little bit more competitive. So I have a lot of anxieties, and I don't know, I have a lot of questions, and maybe my next video will be about all those anxieties and questions of how to go from an artist who is mostly seen on social media to an artist who is going to try to get out into the physical world. And I was out there before the pandemic. I was doing shows, I was doing gallery things, and honestly, the pandemic completely brought out the agoraphobia in me, the fear of being around people and being out of the house without other people especially. And so I'm working on that as well. See, this video is all over the place. This is for my people who have that squirrely brain of leaving Instagram, you know, addiction to apps, and it all makes sense, right? It all connects. It all connects. I hope you're here with me. I talk fast, I talk loud, I jump from topic to topic. My space is often messy, and I'm trying to figure out life at 35 years old. So if you're like me, like, subscribe, join me, and the next video I will link will be of me working on this painting when I finish it. So if it's not linked to me working on this painting in this exact outfit, it means I haven't finished the painting yet. Okay, thanks for joining me.